NXT, handing out Smackdowns, follow on IG+. It's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats.
All right. Well, Kabuki Warriors was supposed to start playing, and it decided that it's not going to. But this is the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site for wrestling fans. Welcome to the show. We have a lot to cover. This
That is an understatement, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even time for Kabuki Warriors, quite honestly. We need to just dive right in because the chairman has arrived. Now we can really begin. Welcome, sir.
Cheer.
Cheer. We were just saying how we have so much to cover. We gotta, I guess, start with the season premiere of Raw, right? And then we'll just kind of go down, but we will get to Hell in the Cell. There is a lot that needs to be said. We'll get to Hell in the Cell. But I think we need to start on a more positive note. And this was a great week to be a wrestling fan. I think WWE did a great job this week, with some exceptions. I think AEW was an absolute home run. I think Smackdown Live on Fox, absolute home run. I mean, we really got a lot to cover. So we'll start with the Raw season premiere. We got the new set. We got the new commentary team. We kind of touched a lot on it leading in to the show last week. But briefly, it was a great show. We all kind of agreed, even Eric, for the first time in a long time, actually enjoyed Monday Night Raw.
Last week's show.
So that was a positive way to start the week, right? And then Wednesday happens. And we have the debut of NXT, well, not the real, but we'll call it the season premiere debut of NXT Live on Fox versus, or USA, and then AEW Dynamite. The fact of the matter is, AEW dominated the WWE Wednesday night in the ratings. And I don't necessarily think AEW put on a phenomenal show. A phenomenal show. And we'll dive into the details. But I think NXT hit it out of the park as they do. It had an NXT. It had a
takeover feel.
It had a takeover type feel to me, and I'll explain to you why in certain aspects. But I knew going in that AEW was going to win the ratings war. The amount of hype and build up. It's a new product. It's something new. NXT. We know NXT. We know the brand. We know it's going to be a good show. But I knew I was watching both. But my priority was I want to watch AEW first. I was more excited going into the night to see AEW. But I have to say I was not disappointed with either one. I think one great thing that NXT did to kick off the show was to do their championship match because, to try and grab people and say, well, wait, I really want to see this match live. But overall, what were your overall feelings? I mean, it's just, people are shitting on one, shitting on the other. In my opinion, what?
Why can't we like both?
Well, that's my thing. I enjoyed both. It was a great night of wrestling. It was a great night of being a wrestling fan. And in my opinion, AEW Dynamite had a feel like WCW type of feel to me. I mean, whether it be the fact that I got to hear Tony Schiavone's voice again on commentary with JR, and that alone had the hair stand up on my arm because I
Oh, yeah.
just I love that voice, and he's so good. And then from the interviews and the rampway to a lot of the way it was shot, I don't know. To me, it felt very much like WCW, and that's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. I jumping in real quick for AEW. I really enjoyed the storyline progression because you had Cody starting off right.
Yeah.
Against Sammy Guevara, the Justin Bieber looking kid. So after the match, Cody wins and he extends his hand, he shakes his hand, but then Jericho comes out, attacks. Later on at the end of the night, you get Jericho with the LAX guys versus the Elite, and then that leads
Moxley.
Cody to come out, and then Sammy officially turns, and then fucking Jack Swagger looks like a fucking beast. And those are guys, the 5 guys that I might not have put together myself, but it just came together.
Their whole presentation, I think, start to finish, was great. I thought every single match hit. There were some noticeable botches throughout the night, but listen, that's going to happen. It was nothing catastrophic or nothing that ruined anything. But overall, I think start to finish, the story progression was great. The presentation was great. The matches were great. It's exciting. It's something that's going to be a little bit different. I mean, you have your first transgender, openly transgender wrestler, who is an absolute beast.
That's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, you have just a lot of good things happening. Cody coming out at the beginning, just to hear the crowd, you could just tell, and Cody, he got a little choked up. And then having Shivani there and he giving him a big hug. It was just all the little things. You know what I mean?
That got me. That got me.
Right. It was so well done. Swagger Hagger, he'll always be Swagger to me. He debuts, we mentioned Moxley comes back and he gives that DDT to Omega through a glass table.
Right.
Which is funny. Moxley took most of the bump on that.
Yeah, but it's still, it looked great. You had
I know.
You had the first ever women's champion crowned. That was a great match. Cody kicked it off with a great match. That kid is going to be something special. I forget his name. But the kid that fought Cody. You're going to have to forgive me because I'm still learning some of the names of these new guys. Listen, Sam, I want to touch with you. You were always, obviously a very big WCW fan, with Sting and Flair and everything else. What was your overall take of AEW
It was
Dynamite?
Sammy Guerrero.
Thank you.
Guerrero. Sorry. Thank you. Terrible with pronounced.
That's all right. It's a good segue for the chairman, so I appreciate you.
Talk to me.
So similar to what you guys are saying, for me, that WCW feel, that TNT feel, the gradient of the cameras, the shock value, the emotion, as you said, with the announcers, with Shivani and JR. For me, that's why I got back into wrestling. That's why I did it as for so long. That's why I love it. For me, that's what brought me into kind of loving the business. So to see the way this kind of organically came together, even though obviously we know it's a script and it's written, it really felt like it was meant to be.
Right.
And I just think that was awesome for wrestling, as you said.
And the fans were so passionate.
Nuts.
They were
do you
great.
remember when Nitro would come on and the fans, you couldn't even hear anything because it was deafening in the crowd.
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
And I think that's what brought us back.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I've said it for years. The crowd makes the difference too. If the crowd is just out of it and dull, it takes away from the excitement and the energy of the match. It just sucks it out of the ring. And when you have a crowd like you had at AEW Dynamite, similar to an NXT crowd, it was great. Everything hit on all cylinders. So
that show is Dynamite 100%. And I think you guys are forgetting that it's all about having yourselves a little bit of bubbly, as I am at the moment.
A little bit of bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
And quick shout out to SCU because they opened up with fucking Scorpio Sky as Barack Obama, and that was hysterical.
Yeah, that was very funny. I mean, it's just everything was just done right. It was, and you're still getting introduced to some of the characters. They got a lot of young talent that are just going to really be something special. And
I have to say a special thank you to Le Champion, Chris Jericho,
Yes.
for being the fucking best.
he's
Every
so
time
good.
he comes out, it's just so fucking good.
He just reinvents himself all the time. It's amazing.
He's just so good at it. He's just so committed and, listen, he always says he's the best in the world. And listen, he's proven it, time and time again. I mean, look how long he's been doing it, and he can still go with the best of the best. I mean, he really is. He's so special and talented. I've always been a Jericho fan, and it's great to see him being champion. I'm so happy as a wrestling fan to have something new and exciting to watch every week. But now on the other side, you had up against NXT. I thought NXT did a great job.
And Steve, I know you loved the Cole versus Riddle match a lot.
Oh, I mean, bro, it was that
Bro.
that match was so good, and I've never been that over on Riddle. Like, I mean, I think he's funny, and I like the guy, but I never thought he put on a hell of a fucking match, and
that kid could definitely go.
Yeah,
he really can.
He really can. And Cole, I mean, Cole's always a home run. Adam Cole, baby, is the man. But that was a hell of a match, and it was a great way to start the show. Because I had to imagine people hesitated to which one they were going to watch. Start. Because I think any true wrestling fan with DVR was watching both. It was just a matter of which one you were going to watch first.
In our day, the best was that last button on your remote control in the old cable TV days.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can switch back immediately.
I want to see who had the most worn out last button.
It's so true. But, I think, so that was a great way to open the show. I thought every match was great. I think every match hit. I was kind of surprised that Candice LeRae didn't go over on Baszler.
Yeah.
But that match was just as good as any guy could go. Any two guys. I mean, that match was just fantastic. I mean, everything was good. And then, so we get the return of Finn Balor. Now, there's a lot of people on social media who did Finn Balor piss off, or why did Finn Balor get demoted? And here's what here's where my take on it, and then I want to go down the row, starting with Eric, and we'll go down and see what you guys think. But my take on that is, I don't think it's meant for us to look at it as it's a demotion, or that it's somebody that he pissed off. I think at the end of the day, they are trying to legitimize NXT as a third brand and not just a developmental type of show now. So in order to legitimize it as a main brand, you have to have some big time players. And I think actually Finn Balor is the perfect fit. Eric, what do you think?
Oh, God. I think it's incredible because Finn Balor just adds something. He is NXT. He was the longest reigning NXT champion. He means a lot to the brand. And you're right, it does. It legitimizes it as a third brand. And it's just one of those things where he's a star in NXT, and it's going to help NXT itself, but anybody that steps in the ring with him, I think.
I mean, listen, it's not like the crowd was booing. The roof flew off the place when his music hit. So, and I listen, this is not going to be a permanent move. I think that this is something he'll be there for a little bit, but at the end of
Right,
the
it's a
day,
transitional thing, but it's great.
I think it's really, at this point, it's to help jumpstart and get the ratings up. And, listen, I think AEW is going to win in the ratings war for a few weeks. I think, once the excitement of something new being out there, I think it'll start to level off because NXT is still putting on great shows. I really have yet to be able to say, well, I didn't enjoy this show. Ryan, we said we were going to go down the row. What was your take? Go for it.
About the same. I could see Finn Balor sticking around for a little bit longer than everybody is expecting. If they really want to maintain a third brand.
Like a 6-month period, something like that?
I could see till Mania. There's no hurt in it. Unless NXT ratings tank.
I don't think they have to rush it either. I mean, it's definitely very possible. Listen, at the end of the day, they can really take it any which way they want to. There's
I could see other names coming down as well.
I mean, the only thing that I find a little disappointing is that I really would have liked to see Finn Balor come back maybe as a heel and join the OC.
Right, yeah.
But
that was my only negative, yeah.
But that's the only negative, and at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world because I like what they're doing with the OC.
And that could still happen in the future.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It's definitely something that... Chairman, what do you think?
So I think with Finn Balor taking some time off, it's always... we're always waiting to see how they're going to bring him back, you know what I mean? And I felt that if they brought him back to the main roster, or on Raw, or at SmackDown... he would have kind of been mid-card, low mid-card again, and then kind of jobbed out. He'll have a quick spark and then jobbed out again. So I think it's smart for them to, as far as business goes, to bring him back to NXT, compete with AEW for ratings like we talked about, still put on a great show. And I think Balor handled it very well when, he was interviewed and he talked about it. He's like, listen, I can go on any show I want, still put on some sick matches, still get the credibility that I deserve, and I don't have to be, stuck to just one brand. And I think that's what wrestling is about right now. As you said it, Steve, it's not just about we're developmental because we're not. NXT is a standalone. It's on USA. It's going head to head with another standalone company, another show. And who better than Finn Balor?
Right. Oh, see, listen. One thing I can say, which is not usually the norm, is that we usually, a bunch of us disagree on a lot of things. But we all seem to be on the same page when it comes to this. I think it's a good move. There's no hurt in it. Listen.
And we still got the Demon to look forward to.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, and at the end of the day, the only way we get hurt in this is if we don't get to see him at all. Because he's such a great talent. So you got to be happy that you get him whichever way you get him. But at least you're getting him.
Oh, yeah.
And then our boy Tommaso Ciampa were coming back. That was awesome.
Yes.
I was just going to bring him up. Him and Balor could tear it up in a great match.
They probably will.
Because
I could see them going for number one contendership.
Absolutely. Well, Ciampa was on a roll, man. As a heel, he was just doing his thing before that injury. And I just thought it was great to see him back, and hopefully they continue that same trend.
Coming back for Goldie.
I'm glad he's back too because there were reports that he might not even come back like ever.
Yeah. That was initial reports on his injury.
Listen, the bottom line is Wednesday was a fantastic night to be a wrestling fan.
Yes.
NXT was a home run. AEW Dynamite exploded, and all in a positive way. And if you are a true wrestling fan, then it doesn't matter who won in the ratings. The ratings mean shit. At the end of the day,
we as fans won.
As we as fans have won. Fuck the ratings. We got a great night of wrestling, and we have a great weekly night of wrestling to look forward to each and every week. So it is just enjoy it. Just sit back, enjoy it. Don't be so critical. Save the criticism for Raw, because I'm sure there will still be more. But now we get to move on to the debut of Smackdown Live on Fox. Which,
what
to me,
a show. Holy shit.
Right? I mean, that show to me had a pay-per-view like feel. I like the new stage.
I love the new stage.
It's beautiful.
It's a new stage. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I like the 2-man team. We're still gonna get boss time, folks. Sorry, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But let Cole have his moment. Not only that, but I think the show flowed the right way. I think they booked it properly. To kick it off with the Great One and the Man and Baron Burger King Corbin was a
Mr. STD.
I mean, The Rock, as usual, fantastic promo work. Becky came in on the right times. They worked well together. And then taking out Corbin and seeing The Rock actually do a rock bottom, do a people's elbow. It was just a great way to kick it off. The only thing
I don't think we can downplay that, Steve.
Yeah.
We can't. I think we got to give that even a little bit more. Because think about it. The Rock has been out for so long. He came in hard. Perfect.
And he did so well.
Didn't miss a beat. The
did
man
not miss a beat.
has never worked with The Rock ever before, right? She's never done it.
Right.
And it was perfect, seamless. And even though you guys give Baron Corbin a hard time because of his cane slacks, right? He did a fantastic job playing back and forth and
I
super
agree.
on that one.
Yep.
Even
He
his
did great.
mic was on point. He sold it very well. There was no botchery.
I have
100%.
adequate sized testicles.
That was perfect. It was just the timing was legit. So that was just the way to kick off the show. Amazing. What was something you didn't like about it, Steve? I didn't mean to cut you up. I was just pretty excited about my guy, The Rock, on TV.
I don't think there was anything that I didn't enjoy.
We had a great match with Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
What was the ladder match, right?
I'm just so glad that that's over. I hate to say it, but it's been going for way too long.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
tired of the same
It has.
spots and the same nonsense. But it's over, hopefully.
Where does Kevin Owens go from here?
It's a good question.
Commissioner of SmackDown coming in on an ATV, giving everyone stunners.
I'd love to see Lesnar versus Owens at some point.
It'd be nice.
I don't think we've ever seen that.
I think he's got his hands full with Cain Velasquez.
I'd prefer that
God,
over.
the King Velasquez thing, that was fucking awesome.
Apparently, he needs surgery.
Who does?
Cain Velasquez.
Did anyone else get the feel of like Rey Mysterio went and got his older brother to come and fight Brock?
Yeah.
A lot of people thought it was Dominic at first.
I did too when he first the initial walkout. I was like, oh great, here's Dominic, and I'm like, oh, that is it.
I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, is that who I think it is?
Probably the only negative, not to nitpick or anything, but maybe Kane can hit the gym a little bit before coming back to fight.
Yeah,
Lesnar.
that was a couple of people said something like that.
He not the best shape.
But at the same time, he's still the man that beat Brock Lesnar for the UFC championship.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
still going to be an awesome match to watch. You know, never take that away. The guy can fight.
Well, if he even gets to the match,
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
or Kofi could have lasted for more than 8 seconds.
You know, I do feel like Kofi could have got a little bit better of a match, but I think it was his time. And I think we got to use Brock Lesnar for what he's worth. You know what I mean? And what he's worth is that shock value, that quick match, that monster, the beast, right? That's what we came to see, and that's how Heyman's writing him in. And he wants Lesnar to be like the old school Goldberg, you know? And I think that works because the less that we have of him, the more we want of him.
Yeah, just with how much they gave Rollins, they could have given a little bit to Kofi.
Fair.
I
was a little bit bored with Kofi, to be honest. I'm a little tired of the positivity.
But that was the way that match went, though, is perfectly fine compared to something else that we'll get to later on.
Oh, I know. I'm not comparing the two. It would have been nice to get something more.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But Kofi, I think ultimately had a pretty good run, and
It was better than I thought it would be.
I just
he was better as a champ than Seth Rollins was, I thought.
he did have a great run. He had a great run.
He had his WrestleMania moment, you know.
The story was great. He had his Mania moment, but 8 seconds. I just like I get it. I get it. Sam, I get it. I'm with you, but at the same time, it's like
But in your head,
Dominic lasted longer than Kofi did technically.
this is true, but Dominic also probably has 100 pounds on Kofi. Try to
He
break
probably
it
has a
down.
good 100 pounds on Rollins, and he lost to him twice.
Break the match down in your head, Steve. If you were booking a match, if you were an agent in the back, how the hell would you start off that match and keep it interesting? So Kofi Kingston tries to do a Trouble in Paradise or some crazy shit on Brock Lesnar. He takes it, or he just grabs him and then destroys him, and the match is over. The same way he did with, John Cena at that pay-per-view when he came back, where it was just 42 German suplexes, and then the match was over. John Cena was on a high at that point. He hadn't lost like that ever. You got to think about it that way. I just don't know how I would put that match together personally. And keep everyone interested, and keep the time going, and not ruin everything that you built the entire show.
And not for nothing, it gives even more sympathy to Kofi, right?
True.
He lost no fan base. He lost none of his, his push, if you will.
No, I get it, but it's like, I don't know. I just 3 minutes, 4 minutes, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just, to me, it was very. Listen, it is what it is.
And again, it's minor compared to and not even the match, but a match ending. And again, we'll get to that soon.
Ugh.
I can't wait till we get to that, because all I got to say is I told you guys. If you guys want to go back and watch our War Report from weeks
Sam's been saying it for weeks.
I have been saying this since day one. And no, I did not pay anybody in WWE headquarters. I already know how this works.
Oh, I could see it happening. It just horrible booking.
Do not say you could see it, because you did not agree with me. You were on the opposite side of that table.
Oh, I said it shouldn't happen. And I still am on that side of that table.
Steve, I think you're going to have to take this one away, sir. I think we're ready.
Yep.
So, we move on.
As the air sucks out of the room.
Yes.
I just, when you get excited about a pay-per-view and you get invested in certain stories, or you get invested in certain scenarios, right? And the one match that I was the most invested in, just like everyone else in the wrestling world, was Seth Rollins and The Fiend.
Let's not go negative, sir.
Why
don't we talk about what was great about it?
Let me just get let me get this out, because I've been stewing on this now since Sunday. Let me just get this out, and then I'm gonna just hand it over to you guys. Okay.
Chip.
I want to say overall it was actually an entertaining match. I enjoyed the match. I don't know that I necessarily enjoyed the red lighting the entire time, and I feel like that had to be very difficult for the fans there to see.
Lighting's never good.
So, outside of that, I thought it was a very good match. I enjoyed watching The Fiend feel no pain and, taking 20 different stomps and getting up and kendo stick shots like nothing, and, everything else.
It was very reminiscent of old school Taker.
Yes, absolutely. Agree with you. It was great. And it had to be one of the worst endings to a match I've ever seen. You have Hell in a Cell matches in the past where Mick Foley gets launched off the top of a fucking cell through a table, has to pop his arm back in, and then climbs back up to the top to continue, and then gets his fucking tooth knocked up through the top lip and continues, and then gets chokeslammed from the top all the way down through to the fucking ring, and then through the ring, and still goes. And you have a sledgehammer on top of a ladder, on top of a chair, on top of probably another chair or two, and that causes the ref to stop the match.
Triple H has used the sledgehammer in multiple Hell in the Cell matches.
This is a Hell in the Cell, a no DQ match. I don't, and apparently Vince recognizes that this was not the right way. There had to be another way to go. Whoever put this idea out, it was an absolute. It ruined the entire fucking show for me. That finish to me was absolutely horrible, and clearly I'm not alone. And I'm usually the positive one, or try to be. But that finish, to have it end that way, and then have Bray continue to go afterwards, they should have restarted the match. Somebody should have come out and said he can, something.
Anything.
Chanted restart the match.
To me, there had to be a different way, and to me, it ruined. Bray technically didn't lose. Okay, that's great, but that finish,
he didn't win.
that finish was just absolutely horrible. So, you know what? This time we're gonna start with Chairman and go the other way. Talk to me, dude. You want to be positive? Tell me what I'm missing, because that was horrible.
I think it's funny because it seems like our roles have reversed, my friend. I feel that, looking at it from the beginning, my whole thought process was, how do you maintain the credibility of Rollins? Because remember, he's the guy, right? They're backing him with everything and anything they got. By killing him, even though we all feel like he's a placeholder and so on and so forth, by killing him, you kind of kill the brand and the image that they're going for right now. That's my opinion, right? So I'm thinking to myself, how do you break this match down as well? The Fiend will have to win. I just didn't feel personally that giving him the belt right now, this fast, made sense. I love the idea of him just coming out, not even really in match format, just killing people, if you will, right? The nightmare scenario, putting him over heavy, just getting people to understand what this character is. And it's not just your average Bray Wyatt or your typical Undertaker, even though it has some of those elements.
You know what the problem is? I agree with everything you just fucking said. But there had to be a different way.
He should have been in a...
They shouldn't have fucking booked the match in the first place.
But hold on. Execution is everything, and we know that. And I'm not saying it was the best way to go about it. But at the same time, I don't think it's as bad as we're crucifying it to be. I mean, I could have, chopped up the match a little bit more, meaning I think they were building up. They were doing some great spots. They were doing some great, hits to each other.
How do you stop a Hell in the Cell match?
I agree with you. But I think if you're looking at it,
you
from
stop
the
it like it's a
of,
fucking DQ. Like, there's no...
Yeah, but let's remember,
Did you see
now we could twist it all the way we want and blame the ref, let's just say, right? If we want to go storyline-wise, right?
Xbox was great on the watch-along, the official WWE watch-along.
Yeah, but how many Hell in a Cell matches has X-Pac been in? So he can keep his mouth shut for all I care about. But my point is that, if you look at it, the camera angles, I enjoyed the red light. I thought that was great. That made it something different. We were going to watch another Hell in a Cell match after the 3 of the night or whatever it was, doing the same things over and over.
And Sasha Becky killed it too.
They did.
That was a great match. Hold on. Let's finish this before we jump to the other.
Yeah.
But I just felt, maybe too many curb stomps. Maybe, Vince was very vocal about it.
A little bit.
Yeah, Vince was very vocal about it too, which I thought was pretty good. Shout out to my guy Vince. But, maybe a little too many of those.
Well, you know what? That didn't bother me. That didn't bother me because that's his main move besides the pedigree. And there were many that just had absolutely no effect on The Fiend, which, to me just made The Fiend more badass. I think if that's what they were looking to accomplish, I think they did. That didn't bother me. It was solely them just stopping the match.
Especially, it's the second year in a row. The Hell in a Cell pay-per-view main event Hell in a Cell match did not have a winner.
What was last year? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember either. What
Brock, it was Braun Strowman
Or
cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase against Roman Reigns. Brock came out and...
But guess what? We
no
can't even
contest.
remember last year as we're counting it right now. This year we will never forget. That's one part of it as well. And I think
Not in a good
them
way,
mentioning
Yeah,
to a degree, but at the same time, mentioning Bray Wyatt 32,000 times, I think I like the idea of them just mentioning him as the Fiend when he's the Fiend, and Bray Wyatt when he's on the Firefly Funhouse segments.
I agree with that.
I think that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I think there needs to be a little more separation.
I
I
agree
think
with
that
that.
would work out. But that's just
kind of
me.
like the
Maybe I'm being
McFoley,
too positive.
personas.
Hold on.
You don't call Cactus Jack Mankind, and you don't call Dude Love Mankind.
Sam, what were you saying?
Sorry.
No, I'm saying maybe being too positive, but I kind of saw this coming in, and I liked the camera angles of Rollins' face, the close-ups. I liked how the ref
Those were
made the
great.
call.
Yeah.
I like how even though at the end he still came back and killed him, and he's bleeding. It's like a horror movie,
I mean,
you can't kill Jason, you can't kill Freddy, and I thought that was pretty good.
No, I see that part I agree with, but the ref stopping the match, that just should not have happened. I just...
Well, how do you preserve both characters?
You don't?
There had to be a different way, dude. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't put them in a cell match.
You don't have the match in the first place. I think it
That's
all,
true.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I think it all goes right back to that. They should have never been put in this position in
It
the
was,
first
but
place. They jumped the
they
gun.
booked themselves into a corner.
Right. They did, and they couldn't get out of it. So it is what it is. It'll be interesting to see where the Fiend goes next.
I just want to make sure that the Fiend keeps his momentum going, and that's what I want.
Well, it sounds like they're going to have the rematch at Survivor Series. I can't imagine that the Fiend doesn't win now. I mean,
How
at
do you
that point.
escalate from a Hell in a Cell match, though? They were too much, storyline-wise, it was too much for a Hell in a Cell
Yeah,
match.
and a Hell in a Cell is kind of a finisher kind of
Where
match.
do you go from there?
That's a good question. Chairman, you want to jump in on that one?
How do you top that in a better way than the way they just ruined it now, right? I don't know. That's a tough call.
Because now I feel like Vince wants to do another one just to get a better reaction. Because he knows he fucked up.
Maybe he'll do a cage match. Maybe he'll do some other form of a gimmicky match. We don't know.
Maybe they just come up with a new match altogether.
And then we'll rip apart that one at the next show.
Or maybe they bring back like a body bag match, or, I don't know. They could
Buried alive.
Buried alive. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
true.
yeah.
That would be cool. So it'll be interesting to see. But overall, outside of the fiasco that was the finish of
It's
that
just
match.
the finish of that particular match. Everything else, I think, was really good on that pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty damn good pay-per-view all around. Becky Lynch retained the Raw Women's title. That match with Sasha Banks.
They were innovative in that match. Holy
They
shit.
were innovative. They went hard. I mean,
They
they
weren't
really
afraid.
and apparently Sasha did not get out unscathed. So now I'm hearing that she has a back injury, but nobody is confirming how serious it is. But that's why she wasn't on Raw. Has anyone else heard anything further?
Not anything other than the back injury.
So
All I heard is that she's the boss.
that what?
All I heard was that she's the boss.
And it is her time.
Her time is now. That's true. It's her time and she's the boss. But let's call a spade a spade. She hasn't won she's won one match since she's come back.
Yeah.
She's putting on great matches, but she's not winning any of them.
That's what happens when you try to sit at home and cry to mommy about not being able to keep the tag titles.
I don't think that's even true that happened.
Yeah.
Go watch the Chronicle. She talks about it. It's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
but she didn't. Yeah, but she didn't like bitch about it though. Like I don't think it's a little out of context.
You're just defending her because you love her. We all do. Let's be honest.
I mean,
Of course.
I do love Sasha Banks. That's true. I do.
Speaking of quick Chronicle segue, I know we talked about Matt Riddle a little while ago, but I just thought, did you watch that Goldberg one?
I watched it today. Actually, it was great.
That was hysterical. Every time Goldberg smiled and said to him, "I'm not your bro," I thought he was going to rip his head off.
And then the response was, "I know, bro. It's okay, bro."
I know, bro. It's okay, bro. Like, it was almost like he couldn't stop saying it because that's just him, but they really wanted to go. That's interesting to see if that plays out.
That match is going to happen eventually, I think, because
It needs to happen.
there's some real heat behind that one.
I just think, I know Goldberg's old and all that, and Riddle is the truth in the ring right now, but I think Goldberg's going to kill that little kid.
Oh yeah, Goldberg's going to annihilate him.
I have a feeling he's going to put another 20 pounds of muscle on old school macho style and just ruin this kid.
It's so true. I agree. Flair wins her 10th title. That was another great match, and it looks like
was great.
It was another great match, and it looks like, was that Bayley officially turning heel? Like,
Yeah, it was kind of like a temper tantrum kind of thing.
it did, but that usually, I mean, because she's kind of been in between. She's a heel, but she's not 100% invested in being a heel. But, maybe now she's gonna, they need to repackage her.
Yeah.
She needs
Absolutely.
a new look. She needs a new theme song. She needs to get rid of those fucking balloons. She needs to stop hugging people and giving them the finger instead. They got to do it right with her.
Right? She sits in the mirror, cuts her hair off, brings out balloons, hands them to a child, and then pops the damn balloon.
That would be great.
like Doink.
Like Doink the Clown.
Or she goes to give the number one fan the hug, and then she pulls away and laughs in her face.
Oh, if you want heat on Bayley, that's how you do it.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many great things you can do. So I hope they finally.
Or go to give one of her bands out and just rips it.
That would be
In front of
hilarious.
the fan.
So we were gonna open with the Kabuki Warriors theme because they finally pulled out the women's tag titles, and looks like they became heel at the same time. And not only that, but Asuka brought back the Poison Mist, which
Woo!
I was always a fan of the Mist, so I think that's pretty cool.
Shit.
But what do you guys think? It kind of, I don't know. I feel like we saw this coming.
It was a matter of time before they won those titles.
I think they finally have some relevance again.
Yeah. And it was great to see them beat the both women's champs.
I love watching Asuka just bring it. I mean, she's such a beast in the ring that it's finally, she was just stretching them out, which I thought was fantastic, and that's what she needs to do. And then that big elbow with the block, that was just sick.
Asuka's
Great match.
And you're gonna laugh, but I thought that what Asuka and Kairi said in Japanese made more sense than the end of the Hell in a Cell match. I'm just saying.
I think it's hilarious.
But when Asuka speaks in Japanese, like holy shit, it's fucking scary.
The passion is there. That's what's so great about it.
Well, and the fact that you have absolutely no idea what they're saying, but you know it's badass. And
Yeah,
then,
wasn't it? Didn't they describe it as like I'm gonna kick your fucking ass or something like that?
I think it was.
we're gonna kick the shit out of you, I think
Yeah.
is what I read.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, but so they finally get over, they win, and then of course, Hell in the Cell. But overall, I think it was a very good pay-per-view. But that finish to that match really ruined a lot of it for me. That was the one I was most invested in, and it delivered, but then it didn't. Sometimes a finish can really take away from the entire experience of the match, and it's and listen, I mean, you could tell by the reaction of the crowd. The one thing that does bother me though is right away the crowd goes to, well, we're just going to start chanting AEW. It's like you're supposed to be fans of both. It's not a matter of this one fucked up, so we're going to cheer for the other one. It's like everything is not always going to be a home run.
That's like liking something by default. you
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah. I think it was more just to get the shock value. Because they know there'll be articles about it, there'll be
I
video.
wonder if it was the new CM Punk chant.
Pretty much.
Oh, another positive though.
Every time my wife doesn't make dinner, I start chanting CM Punk.
Another positive, though, that Orton versus Ali match, that counter to the RKO. Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a definite sleeper, and obviously Randy Orton could put on a match with anyone. But this kid Ali is a serious problem, and I think he's great. And hopefully we get to see more of him. They gave him a shot, and Orton can do anything. So
listen, he delivers every time. Except sometimes he gets hurt. But that was outstanding. That finish. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now that's a finish. That was just nail in the coffin. That shit was done. I mean, it's RKO. So, but overall, it was a good pay-per-view, minus the obvious. And then we move on to Raw this week, which Raw ratings plummeted from last week. And obviously people were pissed about the finish at the Hell in the Cell and did not tune into Raw. That's the theory. But I thought Raw was a pretty decent show. I don't
Also, there was no big.
Wasn't as good as last week, though.
It wasn't anything to write home about, but I don't think it was a bad show. I mean, there were some great matches. I'm very excited to see the Viking Raiders becoming the number one contenders. It looks like they're going to get a shot at the gold next week.
Can I point one thing out, though?
Sure.
I hate the fact that to become number one contenders, they beat the tag title champs.
You got to go into more detail because
Just the way every time they make a number one contender, they beat the champions.
That's been a new trend as of late. And I think with the division.
They've been doing that for 30 years, though.
Yeah, but wait. But why is that a bad thing? I mean, if you can beat them when the titles are not on the line, then that justifies you being the number one contender to go for the belts, no?
But as a champion, they shouldn't lose until they lose the belt, not to the build-up for the match.
Then how do you get a number one contender?
Have other teams.
Yeah, I mean, you could have two teams go against each other, and the winner takes. I mean, you could do it, but why?
Or have a six-man match, add another person, get them a pinfall over an extra person with the team.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they do that every time now. I feel like if that's something that they do every now and then why the fuck not? Switch it up a little bit and do something different each time.
We've been watching tag team wrestling for what? 40 years?
Yeah.
It's important for us to change it up every once in a while, even though they have been doing it for that long. But I just think it's great that if they do beat them, they get a shot, Sometimes you don't need this long, drawn-out,
I'm not saying go crazy. All the tag teams in WWE have a tournament, but I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way.
These kids need to be put over fast because they can wrestle. They're interesting to watch, and the fans love them. That's my opinion.
Although it was weird to see them dwarfed by Braun.
Yeah.
Well, I think Braun dwarfs everyone.
I was going to say, it's really hard not to be dwarfed by Braun.
Everything works for them. They were great in Ring of Honor. Warbeard, I used to work. I must have worked 25, 30 different shows with him. He's always been a solid guy. And his work as a singles wrestler or with his partner, who he's been, they've been a team for so long. It's just, he's a home run. They're just so fucking good. They should win the titles. I would be excited to see that. So we have that to look forward to. Then we had the Kabuki Warriors we touched on. They defeated Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Tyson Fury. So let's talk about this finish to Raw. Because people are saying, "Oh, that was such a great finish, this and that." I got to tell you, for an all-right brawl, I think it was one of the worst I've ever seen because Tyson Fury had no fucking clue what he was doing. It was like all they did was run and jump on each other, but then the punches were horrible. It was just, I don't know. I liked how Braun kept coming back and this and that. I mean, it was cool in a way, but if Tyson's going to actually get in the ring and wrestle, he needs a lot of work.
Yeah, for a boxer, he has horrible worked punches.
I didn't know who he was.
they always say that transition from another sport to our wrestling world is always the toughest, and they sometimes they just can't hack it. So I don't think this guy will ever have enough work to get that done. But I think it's just interesting to see, a heavyweight boxing champion at one point versus Mr. Get These Hands, and they're both huge. It looks good on a poster. It's going to look good in the ring. They just need some good agents back there. Hopefully Finley's up for the task.
Did you enjoy that finish, like that melee? Did you actually buy into that?
Absolutely not. I'm going to be honest. I think it was pretty brutal, but I just think it's reminiscent of, Lesnar and Taker and 4,000 guys pouring out of the back. And
that I get. But, listen, when you watched Lesnar and Undertaker, you bought in. I mean, you were like, oh, shit. You like that one, I just sat back and I was like, it just looked bad.
I think they're trying to give Strowman a shot to see what he can do again, because eventually he's going to be their guy. I mean, they've tried it and just never worked out, and they keep, jobbing him out. But I think that was his shot to see if he can carry the segment, and I don't know. I don't think he did. I don't think he delivered.
I don't think it was his fault either, though.
Yeah, see, I'm with Kat on that one. I don't think it was his fault.
He did good for his part.
I don't agree.
Really? You think Braun didn't carry that?
Well, who else could carry it? I think he should have put it over even more.
How? What else could Braun have done?
Done with what he had to work with.
He should have just killed everyone and left.
That's not his decision, though. I'm sure if they left it up to Braun, he would go out and kill everybody and just be standing there in the middle of the ring.
He probably could have actually legitimately killed him if he wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
It sucks. Let me kill you, then I'll get the ratings.
I don't.
Flip the ring on him.
I'm not really big into this guy or Cain Velasquez. I don't know.
No, Velasquez I'm into.
I agree with you, Steve. I don't care for either of them.
Yeah, I don't think it does anything.
Listen, that's my older cousin, and he's gonna kick your ass if you keep it up, Steve.
I mean, now all of a sudden he's Dominic's fucking godfather. Is that? I don't know, dude.
He's my godfather. You have a problem with
that? I do.
And Sam,
I don't know. I don't see why this is necessary right now, to be honest with you. Either of them. I'd rather
see... Shock value, sir. Shock value, draw a little bit more of the different type of world. We're in the Fox world now.
I'm not shocked.
Sports, you get it.
I'm not. I agree. I'm not shocked at all.
That didn't give you any jump at all on Friday night?
What?
Mildly bored.
Say that again?
I said Cain Velasquez coming out didn't give you any woohoo moments at all on Friday night? You didn't get into that at all?
Not even a little.
Wow.
I don't think that was meant for the wrestling world, though. I think for us as wrestling fans, blah, 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 you get it, right? I just felt that was made specifically for a gimmick match to gain different sports eyes and to gain a different kind of demographic.
Oh, I agree with that.
And that's what it was there for.
Well, so this is happening at Crown Jewel, which means anyone that wouldn't normally sign up for the network is going to have to sign up if they're going to want to watch that pay-per-view.
There he is, Mr. Business himself.
Well, listen, I mean, it makes sense. You know what I mean?
If it makes money, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
They need the best in the world.
I'd be curious to see how many of them sign up to get their free pay-per-view and then drop it the next day, though.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting number.
That actually leads me to something. Look, as pissed as I was about the ending of that Hell in a Cell match, I'm not going to fucking cancel my network just because of that.
No,
people that are saying that are fucking idiots or liars,
And you're not going to stop watching the product.
Right.
They want the 15 minutes of attention.
Look, I'll be honest. Sometimes I don't watch Raw or SmackDown at all, and I don't feel like I missed anything. But that's I'm still going to watch the product. I'm still going to I don't get that. Everybody
you should only want to watch Baron Corbin.
It's the same. I won't watch him, and I did.
So then cancel your subscription. Cancel it right now.
You hit the mute button right after you say you should watch Baron Corbin, then you're like, fuck, I'm not talking anymore after that. I can't even have that statement.
All I gotta do is change the channel or mute it when either him or Lacey Evans are on. That's it.
Here, and let me ask one other thing. We're getting close to the top of the hour, but one other thing I did want to ask the panel then. Shit, where was I going with that? I just lost my train of thought. And it was going to be a good one, too.
Train got derailed.
Yeah.
We were
Train has
talking
left the
about
station.
Corbin and Lacey Evans.
You're always talking about Corbin. I wasn't talking about Corbin.
And canceling network subscriptions.
That was the topic.
I'm always talking about Lacey Evans. You're absolutely right.
And none of this is helping Steven his thought at all.
No, not even a little. Fuck, where was I go? Wow.
Well, if you want to think about it, the main reason why I jumped in, Medulla did make a comment.
Oh,
There we
bring
go.
it up. Let's go.
Always
Okay.
like your comments.
So Medulla says, history repeating itself. Bad scripts. New league is going to bring WWF down. I don't know why he wrote WWF, but okay. Not to mention the crappy XFL will start soon. That money going to waste. AEW all the way. And the difference is the talent is running the league. How pissed was McMahon when he heard the AEW chants?
You know, well, listen, I get a lot of what he's saying. At the end of the day, though, I think that you can be a fan of both. You know, and at the end of the day, Raw, SmackDown, they're gonna have good shows, they're gonna have bad shows, and it's gonna get to a point where AEW is gonna fall into the same thing. Wrestling is wrestling; it's gonna go through its situations. You know, but. Listen, AEW right now is hot. AEW is hot. There's not one negative thing I could say.
I agree with that. I was not listening all the way, so I apologize. Did we cover Jeff Hardy at all? Because that actually
We did not.
Oh,
No.
we did not. So he got arrested again.
Another
Correct.
day,
And this question came in from our other regular Andre. He wants to know, is this pretty soon to when the WWE is going to wish Jeff well in his future endeavors?
I have a little bit of an update with that. Supposedly, he got a fight with his wife.
Yep. And
On
the
top
arrest
of the
was outside
DWI.
of a liquor- and the arrest was
did it-
outside of a liquor store.
Did it get physical?
He had a bloody nose.
She whipped his ass.
it's like Ronnie from Jersey Shore.
He had a bloody nose. There's been no statement from his wife yet at all.
I mean,
But-
as far as WWE, I feel like a lot of these situations, they say that they're personal, and a lot of times it doesn't, you know, listen, Jeff has had a history of having issues with alcohol and drugs. He's got demons, and apparently they're back. You know, I think WWE would be first to try and get him help before they would release him at this point.
I agree with that. But they got the same thing going on with, what is it, Jimmy Uso? Is he the one that keeps getting arrested now, too?
Yeah, what's the update with them? They coming back anytime soon?
I heard it was relatively soon, but I didn't get an exact. I could see them coming back with the draft.
That's
Can
a good
anyone
point.
confirm that him and Trinity separated after this time?
I don't think that's true.
That's
I
been a
thought-
rumor going around.
I don't think that's true. All right, well, let's,
Especially something like that, there'd be official paperwork, and I'm sure someone would have dug that up, unfortunately.
Okay.
yeah, that's true. All right, well, we're at the top of the hour. So this has been the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site for wrestling fans. We have another week of fantastic, hopefully, wrestling coming this week. So tune in next week on Tuesday, live 7 p.m. as always. In the meantime, if you didn't catch this show live, you can always listen and go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. Ring the bell so that you get notified when we go live. And then, Ryan, spit it out. We are where else?
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. And tweet at us if we need to join another platform.
Yeah, but as far as we know, we're pretty much everywhere that you can get a podcast downloaded. So check us out. Subscribe, shout us out. Make sure you send questions to askthewarreport@gmail.com or on Twitter. Send us a question or comment and tag me a date in there and use the hashtag askthewarreport. And we will address your comment or question live on the air, get you a part of the show, and also an opportunity for a free entry into the WrestleRumble Pickem contest, which I would imagine the next one will be Survivor Series. But we'll get confirmation. Hopefully Amanda will be back soon, and we'll get to the bottom of that. But thank you all for tuning in, as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week live, 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Have a great wrestling week.